Honorable educationists, Ms. Avaya Ranjan will talk about NEP recommendations for equitable and inclusive education, learning for all.
Rayef Ranjan, sir, I have discussed mainly points number 6. 1 to 6.5 of equitable and inclusive education, learning for all, NEP, 2020 in my last presentation. Now I will discuss points number 6. 6 to 6.11 of equitable and inclusive education, learning for all, NEP, 2020. Equitable and inclusive education, learning for all education is the single greatest tool for achieving social justice and equality. Inclusive and equitable education, while indeed an essential goal in its own right, is also critical to achieving an inclusive and equitable society in which every citizen has the opportunity to dream, thrive, and contribute to the nation. The education system must aim to benefit India's children so that no child loses any opportunity to learn and excel because of circumstances of birth or background. This policy reaffirms that bridging the social category gaps in access, participation, and learning outcomes in school education will continue to be one of the major goals of all education sector development programs. Data shows that certain geographical areas contain significantly larger proportions of SEDS. Also, there are geographical locations that have been identified as aspirational districts, which require special interventions for promoting their educational development. Hence, it is recommended that regions of the country with large populations from educationally disadvantaged SEDS should be declared special education zones, SES, where all the schemes and policies are implemented to the maximum through additional concerted efforts, in order to truly change their educational landscape.
Gender Inclusion Fund.
In addition, the Government of India will constitute a gender inclusion fund to build the nation's capacity to provide equitable quality education for all girls as well as transgender students. The fund will be available to states to implement priorities determined by the central government critical for assisting female and transgender children in gaining access to education, such as the provisions of sanitation and toilets, bicycles, conditional cash transfers, etc. Funds will also enable states to support and scale effective community-based interventions that address local context-specific barriers to female and transgender children's access to and participation in education. Similar inclusion fund schemes shall also be developed to address analogous access issues for other SEDS. In essence, this policy aims to eliminate any remaining disparity in access to education, including vocational education, for children from any gender or other socio-economically disadvantaged group. Free boarding facilities will be built, matching the standard of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya's, in school locations where students may have to come from far, and particularly for students who from socio-economically disadvantaged backgrounds, with suitable arrangements for the safety of all children, especially girls. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas will be strengthened and expanded to increase the participation in quality schools up to grade 12 of girls from socio-economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Additional Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas and Kendriya Vidyalayas will be built around the country, especially in aspirational districts, special education zones, and other disadvantaged areas, to increase high-quality educational opportunities. Preschool sections covering at least 1 year of early childhood care and education will be added to Kendriya Vidyalayas and other primary schools around the nation, particularly in disadvantaged areas. The Rights of Persons with Disabilities (RPWD) Act 2016. Ensuring the inclusion and equal participation of children with disabilities in ECI and the schooling system will also be accorded the highest priority. Children with disabilities will be enabled to fully participate in the regular schooling process from the foundational stage to higher education. The Rights of Persons with Disabilities (RPWD) Act 2016 defines inclusive education as a system of education wherein students with and without disabilities learn together, and the system of teaching and learning is suitably adapted to meet the learning needs of different types of students with disabilities. This policy is in complete consonance with the provisions of the RPWD Act 2016 and endorses all its recommendations with regard to school education. While preparing the national curriculum framework, NSERT will ensure that consultations are held with expert bodies such as National Institutes of DIPD.
School complexes.
To this end, schools/school complexes will be provided resources for the integration of children with disabilities, recruitment of special educators with cross-disability training, and for the establishment of resource centers, wherever needed, especially for children with severe or multiple disabilities. Barrier-free access for all children with disabilities will be enabled as per the RPWD Act. Different categories of children with disabilities have differing needs. Schools and school complexes will work and be supported for providing all children with disabilities accommodations and support. Mechanisms tailored to suit their needs and to ensure their full participation and inclusion in the classroom. In particular, assistive devices and appropriate technology-based tools, as well as adequate and language-appropriate teaching learning materials, for example, textbooks in accessible formats such as large print and braille, will be made available to help children with disabilities integrate more easily into classrooms and engage with teachers and their peers. This will apply to all school activities including arts, sports, and vocational education. NIAS will develop high-quality modules to teach Indian Sign Language and to teach other basic subjects using Indian Sign Language. Adequate attention will be paid to the safety and security of children with disabilities. Raif Ranjan Sir, today I have discussed mainly points number 6. 6 to 6.11 of Equitable and Inclusive Education, Learning for All, NEP, 2020. We will discuss points number 6. 12 to 6.20 of Equitable and Inclusive Education, Learning for All, NEP, 2020.
Thank you so much, Raif Ranjan. Resource NEP 2020, presented by Raif Ranjan, Principal, Teacher Trainer and CBSE Resource Person. For more information visit MHRD websites or visit www.raifl.com for more presentations, videos and articles.